How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Rads. I actually don't quite know where to begin. Nottingham Forest have sacked Steve Cooper as manager after over 2 years of service, and the best thing to happen to this football club since the 90s under Frank Clark. This is painful. I've never ever quite felt like this before about anything to do with Forest in terms of a manager or player leaving. And as someone that didn't see the European days, for example, it's the best thing that's ever happened, and that isn't even downplaying Cooper in the slightest, because of where this club was when he took over. It was on its knees. It was rotten. It was stale. It was bottom of the championship. It was just a merry-go-round of failing at promotion and being mid-table, even relegation scrapping, just being stuck in the second tier. And yet Steve Cooper changed that from the word go. He changed it. He's the reason we have the privilege to be able to say that we are a club that compete in the Premier League. But immediately he captured the heart and imagination of the whole fan base before we knew it, we were in the playoffs. And then he went one better than that and he won the playoffs under difficult circumstances against Sheffield United. Gave us a team that we could truly love, made a team that truly loved and cared about playing for Forest. But unfortunately it had to be ripped up, and that was a big part of why I think it's been so unstable since that season, having to come up with a whole new squad in the Premier League and then again this season. So the biggest jigsaw of all time having to be assembled, and it still is very much in the box. It's not even been took out really. Still don't really know who's who in the squad, in the current squad. Yeah, it had to happen. For being brutally honest, it had to happen because the form was only going in one direction. It was going a long way downhill. But this is truly painful. Seeing people tweet about Cooper, when you think he's going to get sacked is one thing, but the fact that I'm now seeing pictures of Cooper and it's official, I can't put into words. I met the bloke in September very briefly. He's one of the nicest, most genuine human beings you'll ever come across. Truly cared about this football club. And yeah, alright, you can say that about wherever he goes next, but he weren't making that up for, clicks and for attention. He cared deeply about managing Forest, and I feel incredibly bad for him. Yes, he made mistakes. He wasn't ready for this level. But that doesn't get away from the fact that he still kept us up. He got us up in the way he did. He gave us the best days we've had in a very long time. And I'm absolutely gutted about it, to be quite honest. So what's next? Well, I think we all know. It's Nuno Espirito Santo, it seems. Former Wolves boss, former Spurs manager, former Al Ittihad, I believe that's how you say it, probably not, in Saudi Arabia. Former Porto, Rio Ave and Valencia boss from the early days of his career. He's got a good CV at Wolves at the very least, and did alright in Saudi Arabia, won 2 trophies over there. I didn't actually know that initially. Got Wolves 7th 2 years running after coming up from the Championship, so a similar situation to us, but then going one better when he got promoted and got us. I'm talking across purposes here. He's going to be our manager eventually, very soon, but he got Wolves into European football twice in a row and made them competitive as well at that level. The only doubt I have, and I think a lot of people have, is the fact that he struggled at Spurs. His style of play at Spurs and his final days at Wolves was pretty poor. It was dull, it was stale, it was declining quite badly, and a lack of goals, and that's exactly what Forest have been recently. So that's my only concern, that the end of Wolves and his time at Spurs, albeit he didn't actually have that long there, was pretty poor. But you know, at Wolves for most of the time, he was probably a modern day legend for them as well, like Cooper is to us. So I'm really crossed fingers about Nuno. Lots of me think, yeah, that's a great appointment. That's genuinely an upgrade on Cooper. But the other part of me is thinking, and maybe this is sentimental value, is he really any better than Cooper? You know, what he's done at Spurs and then how his time at Wolves came to an end. Is it really a good appointment? And I can't really say going to Saudi is a bad thing, because anyone will go there for money nowadays. But yeah, I like Nuno as a manager. I may have just criticised him for his style of play and Spurs and that, like I've already said. But this is the thing, right? Everyone is going to find it difficult to fully get behind whoever replaces Steve Cooper, and it's not even officially Nuno yet, but it's most likely going to be that. Whoever comes in is going to be under 10 times more pressure than anyone that would normally come into a managerial job. So, you know, replacing Chris Hughton, Steve Cooper coming in, obviously there's some element of pressure. Cooper would have been under very minimal pressure in ways, because there was very little expectation. Obviously get out the relegation zone in the Championship, but then after that it's just a case of just doing all right, isn't it? You know, just do as well as you can. There was little pressure in that scenario, whereas here, whoever comes in is replacing, at the very least, a modern day legend. And I think overall a legend for what he's done, for galvanising the club, for ending 23 years of being in the doldrums and just being literally nothing. Nothing. We were a joke of a club, and Steve Cooper made us into something I could never ever have dreamt of. So, yeah, I could speak for a long time on this, but I won't. I can just do that to myself. I'm incredibly numb and sad about this, if I'm entirely honest. Don't really know how to feel at the moment, but yeah, maybe I think it was the right decision at the end of the day, but I'm just a bit fearful. Will it have consequences? Will we make us even worse? Will it boost us? Who knows? The unknown is the thing that I'm concerned about with it. But then it's also just pure sadness that an absolute hero, phenomenal bloke and manager, at the very least at the start of his time with us, had to be sacked in the end. And yeah, I just hope that he succeeds in wherever he goes next, because he deserves everything. He really does. And yeah, thank you, Steve. Thank you. Whatever's next, we'll wait and see. I'll be covering it right here on Rads, so please stay tuned to the channel, subscribe, do all that. It really goes a long way. And this is going to make the rest of the season, and at the very least the next several games, even more interesting than they already were going to be. So yeah, absolutely devastated, quite honestly. Thank you for watching, everyone. All the Reds.